y'all, Farmer Dre back at it. It's a beautiful day here on the farm. It's really hot, really humid, but today we are putting on shade cloth on high tunnel number 3. Alrighty, so whenever it comes to shade cloths and tunnels, there are many different versions and ways you can put them on. Whenever we first bought our first tunnel, we did buy a traditional shade cloth, and I'll show you guys that whenever we pull it out. But in high tunnel number 3 here, look at these plants. They're absolutely beautiful. They're growing. I was out here staking them yesterday, put on this top wire here, or the string here, but the crop is looking good. The plants are just absolutely beautiful, nice, just healthy plants, gorgeous. I mean, we got some nice fruit there on the bottom, turning to some getting pretty large there. And these plants are just, I mean, as you can tell here, they are just growing beautifully. So for this tunnel right here, these plants are still flowering, they're still growing. And with tomatoes in a high tunnel, if the temperature exceeds over 90 degrees, then the flowers will start falling off just because it's too hot. And then if the flowers fall off, then you lose production. So since high tunnel number 3 here on our farm is the tunnel that is the freshest tunnel yet, I guess, or I don't know how you say it. It hasn't come in production yet, but they're still flowering and growing. I'm gonna go ahead and put the shade cloth on this tunnel. On number 1 there, we've been harvesting for about a month now, and we probably have another 4 or 5 weeks of heavy production, and then that tunnel will be done for, so I'm not worried about number 1 there. And then we're planting number 2 here by the end of this week, hopefully, if everything works out great. So we'll have to put a shade cloth on that one too. But whenever it comes to shade cloths on tunnels, with anything you're growing, there's many different versions and ways. I'm gonna be trying many different versions this year. So we have the traditional, which we're about to put on now, and then we have some spray on stuff I wanna try this year as well. But like I said, we gotta protect these flowers and keep the temperatures a little cooler in here, so we're gonna go ahead and put the shade cloth on here. So here, if you guys are from the Midwest, I mean the Southwest Missouri region, you guys know it's been really hot here this past 2 weeks here. And you're probably wondering, hey Dre, why aren't your flowers already falling off because it's been so hot? Well, whenever we grow our tomatoes and build our structures, as you can see here, we have the 8-foot sidewalls on both sides, and that's how all our tunnels are, the 8-foot sidewalls. And this actually helps quite a bit whenever it comes to temperature control, especially during the summer months. Because right now, even where I'm standing, I'm 6'4", and you know, it's fairly cool because all the hot air gets stuck up in the top, in the peak of the tunnel, and the air, by the time the hot air reaches the ground here, it escapes through the sidewalls. Some other growers who have a 5-foot sidewall, and on Val's tunnel, on his place, that's a 5-foot sidewall. It's 10 to 12 degrees warmer on a regular day in theirs compared to my tunnels, just because of the taller sidewalls. So that's why I like going with the taller sidewalls, and that's why we have so many good viable flowers yet here, because of course we haven't had the shade cloth on yet, but that hot air is escaping. But for Thursday and Friday, they're calling for 96, 97 degrees. And in here, you know, there's no way it could keep it that cool. So that's what we're hurrying up and putting it on right now. And today, just so we can save all these flowers and all of these tomatoes from getting too hot and burning up in here. But look at these absolutely beautiful tomatoes are on the first clusters there. Everything's growing super nicely. This tunnel is looking really good. Look at these red deuce here. This is not even the first cluster, and these tomatoes are sizing up real nice. So hopefully in here we'll start harvesting within 2 to 3 weeks, and then we'll have plenty of tomatoes for the 4th of July and the whole weekend. But they're filling up real nice, growing nice. If you guys can remember when we first planted these back in April, they're just itty-bitty plants, and now they're almost waist high. So other than the heat and fighting the temperatures right now, we'll get that resolved as best as we can. But another thing that I've been fighting in here is the aphids and the whiteflies. So I've been coming through here pretty regularly and spraying for that. And then I've been throwing a little bit of fungicide in, just because I'm seeing a little bit of botrytis. I think it's botrytis down towards the bottom of the leaves there. And on these determinants, these bush type tomatoes, it's really hard to get good airflow underneath the plants here. So that's where a nice, just a broad spectrum fungicide comes in pretty nice. It's just to kind of knock that back before it gets too big of a problem, and then your fruit starts molding on you here on the plants. I mean, we don't have any fans in here. If you were to put some big old fans in here and run 24/7, then you wouldn't have that big of an issue with the fungus and stuff, because everything stays so dry and aerated. But of course, that costs, first of all, money on the fans, and then electricity as well to run those 24/7. And that's the thing. So you gotta take your losses in some areas, but there's also some other ways you can resolve the problems. But overall, these plants are looking very, very, very healthy. No insect issues at all. No problems with anything. So far, so good. Alrighty, so what the plan is here, we're just gonna unroll the shade cloth here. I gotta go grab that real quick, and we're just gonna pull it over the top there, and then we'll get some wiggle wire and put it in the C channel there on both sides, and then secure it nicely. And that's about it. That's all there is to putting the shade cloth on a high tunnel here. These are our field tomatoes here. We got Red Deuce, Carolina Golds. I planted some Celebrities and some Mountain Fresh Plus out here. So look at this, you can't hardly even see the 4-foot plastic here. That's how much they've been growing. We got some nice first clusters they're setting in. And for the ones who are entering and asking, we no longer stake our field tomatoes. I used to stake a few in the past, and then I realized that it just wasn't economical feasible to stake them, just because the production wouldn't offset the cost of the trellis system and the time and energy and labor to go in and stake the tomatoes. So just kind of grow them like this on the black plastic, or kind of grow them like cucumbers, and that's it. And just kind of let them grow, and then whenever the end of the season's over, other than the plants and the plastic and drip tape, you have no other cost into the tomatoes. So then if they crack and, you know, from a big rainstorm or something, then you don't have much loss. But if you put in, you know, a few $1,000s in a trellis system, and then you get a bigger rainstorm at harvest, all your tomatoes start cracking on you, and then there goes the entire crop. So if you do it this way, then you don't have that big of a loss whenever, if anything like tragic happens. Alrighty, y'all, so I gotta be the worst filmer ever, because we just started working. I got Adrian here, Isaac here. Now I didn't even think about picking up the camera. So yeah, here it is. We just kind of just pulled it across, wiggle back and forth. We don't throw any strings across, just because we don't want to tear the plastic at all on the peak there, because you got the plastic, the frame, and then the heavy shade cloth there. So we just kind of pull on each side. It's kind of a pain, but it works pretty good. And over here, since what happened here on this tunnel, we built the side, there's a 6-inch difference between the hip board on this side and that side, but you can't really tell, just because we did them level on both sides. So the 6-inch difference right here, we can see right here like that. So this is, we can't stretch it no more, because if we stretch it, then it's gonna be really tight on the top there. So we're gonna wiggle wire that whole top here on the side. We already did the peak, there. We just wiggle wire the peak. I gotta finish it up here with Isaac. So we're just gonna wiggle wire the edge to this on this side right here. Just like that, just go through there, wiggle wire it nicely, the whole entire side here. And then on that side, we're just gonna get a few strings at every single hole, and either go through the pole or just come through here and tie it down to the bottom. The thing is, if you tie it to the pole, then you interfere with the curtain system. But this time of year, we don't worry too much about the curtain system, just because it's so hot. We leave them open all the time. But that's the thing. You got to make sure it's nice and secure, so that if any windstorm comes, this whole thing don't blow off, or about your C channel and your plastic and everything like that. But we'll be done here within 10 to 12 minutes or so. What we're doing on this side, we're not doing the entire solid thing, so we're doing every 10 foot or so now. At every single post, we're putting a 4-foot piece of wiggle wire. So it's not gonna be the whole solid 96er, but it's gonna hold up pretty nicely. So I'm gonna jump back in the skid steer here in the crate, and we're gonna finish the peak there, and then Adrian will finish that. It'll get done pretty quick. Alrighty, also it is way cooler in here. As you can see here, the shade cloth is on here. So I have a temperature gauge in number 2 there. I'm gonna do till there's an obvious difference right here, but it's so much cooler in here, I can just feel it. So let me go ahead and check temperature right now. Let me see what temperature is in here. Oh, it's dead. I can't tell you that it's different. I think it's dead battery. Maybe. Battery's no bueno. Let's see here. 85 degrees currently. Let me pick this up higher here. 85 degrees in there. So let's go with number 2 and set temperature in there. Alrighty, so they're both dead. I had to readjust them. So it's 85 in there. It's currently 98 degrees in here. So I just turned it on. 98 degrees in number 2 here, and 85 degrees with the shade cloth on. And we just got done putting it on. So that's an obvious difference on how fast that shade cloth works and how good it works. So we're not even done securing down the shade cloth, and there's a 13-degree difference between the one with shade cloth and the one without shade cloth. So that makes a huge difference. I mean, with tomatoes, a couple degrees makes a huge difference. Imagine 13 degrees. So the plants are going to enjoy their time in here, and if it doesn't get as hot, then we're less prone to some diseases, and the tomato quality just goes up, and it's just an uphill. I mean, it's a smooth ride now until we start harvesting out here, and until everything gets done. Another thing I forgot to mention, whenever you do put shade cloth in, one of the biggest reasons is for tomato quality. So if you guys don't know this, I talked about it in some of my other videos, but in the tomato fruit itself, some of the nutrients cannot be taken up if the temperature exceeds a certain amount. I'm gonna try to get away from here from Adrian. Oh, he's following me, I don't know. But so some of the nutrients, kind of like potassium and phosphorus, cannot be uptake by the plant if the temperatures exceed a certain amount. So the biggest thing for us that we fight, and the biggest fertilizer issue that we fight, is white core inside the fruit. So the entire stem part of the tomato going down through it will be white if you don't know how to manage your nutrients right. So you can have as much fertilizer as you can and as you want to inject through your system, so that the plants will not lack that fertilizer. But like potassium in the fruit itself, it cannot be uptaken by the plant itself if it exceeds over 90 degrees, and then you have a white core inside the tomato, and then it might look nice and pretty on the outside, but whenever you open up and cut it and the customer takes home the tomato cut, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna have a big old fat streak of white in there. Then it's just really cory, and it's not very good to eat. So then you get a bunch of complaints at farmers market. So that's one of the other big benefits of putting shade cloth, is we're able to cool down the temperature. As you saw there, 13 degrees within 10 minutes. And then that allows the nutrients to flow better through the tomatoes, through the actual plants itself. And then you have less disorders, and then less seconds pretty much in the actual tomato itself. And that white core is just a small ring. So if you look on the tomato right here, it's just a small ring around where that stem is there. So if you see that, then you have white core issues. And that is a phosphorus deficiency, no, a potassium. Sorry, it's potassium deficiency inside the fruit. And you could be injecting as much potassium as you want through your injector system, but if the plant isn't taking it up and putting it inside the fruit, then it's a last battle. So the only thing you can do is just trying to cool off the tunnel itself. So that's one of the biggest ways to fix that problem and issue, is to put the cover on or shade cloth on, just trying to keep the tomatoes cool. And if you can and want to invest in the fans and into like exhaust systems and wet walls and stuff, that works as well. But for a high tunnel, kind of like it is in here, the cheapest way is just to get a shade cloth or some of that spray and spray it on top of there, and then that will resolve the issue with the tomato fruit disorders due to fertilizers. So that's another big benefit to the shade cloth here. There's many things that I can mention, but those are the two biggest things that that I put the shade cloths on. First off, for that white core, and then to keep those flowers on the plant flowering. Alrighty, y'all, so this is it for today. Just a quick little video for you guys. We've been super busy here on the farm, and a lot of times, like, man, I don't think you know, it's hard to grab the camera and film something if you're just doing something, you know, kind of on the spur of the moment like this today right here. You know, if I want to pull up the camera, you know, I wouldn't have filmed anything and the day would have gone by. That's the hardest thing right now. We're getting so busy and we have so many things going on that it's kind of hard to film, but I'm going to try to upload a lot more and a lot more often for you guys. I'm thinking about doing, you know, 5 to 6 videos a week the next month. I'm not sure, we'll see about that, but it's a lot of hard work with this whole YouTube thing. So I know you guys enjoy it. I enjoy doing it. That's the biggest thing. And you know, I like sharing the information that I learn on my hands-on experience on the farm and share with you guys. Alrighty, y'all, this is gonna be it for today. Like I said, it's a quick little video for you guys, kind of tomato update slash putting on the shade cloth here. So this is where I'm gonna go ahead and end off the video. If you guys haven't already, go and hit that subscribe button, smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, hit that notification icon so you guys can be notified whenever I do upload a video. I want to say thanks for watching up to this point. Y'all have a good day, and we will see you next time.